What's going on, Jerome's? Happy Tuesday, and it's NFL mock draft season. Of course it is. And Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports, is one of our favorite guys because he's got good logic behind his drafts as well as shooters shoot, right? Like he may be the only human on earth who does more mock drafts than I do, but he did up his latest first rounder, and the Vikings. You're going to like it. You're going to like it. So up at the top, Bryce Young going to Carolina. And this doesn't make sense. Warm weather division, Bryce Young. Bryce Young makes sense in the South or a dome team versus, I don't know, Pittsburgh, Chicago, whatever. Obviously, they have quarterbacks, but you know what I mean. So Bryce Young in Carolina. Also, with the weapons, like Thielen. There you go. But decent offensive line. Sticky Icky Kwanu, Taylor Moton, so should be good to go for Bryce Young. CJ Stroud going to the Texans. I love this pick. Where the Texans tearing everything down, rebuilding. They got draft picks. Love me some D'Amico Ryans. And I think that Ryans, even though he's a defensive coordinator, I think that he will form a bond with his quarterback. And Stroud, to me, Stroud has the highest floor of the big four. Love his size, love his arm. He did phenomenal throwing at the combine, so he's an absolute stud. Cardinals at 3 are our guy Monty Ossenford, Jonathan Gannon holding things down. Obviously, taking the best edge in the draft makes sense. J.J. Watt retired, as well as Chandler Jones departed 2 years ago, so this makes sense. Also, with quarterback 1-2, which it's a near lock to happen, I think that number 3 will be a very valuable trade spot if they want to move down of a team that covets Richardson, Stroud, or Young, whichever one falls out of the top 3. And hell, they may get more than the Bears got dropping from 1 to 9, legitimately, because things get desperate when teams are on the clock. Richardson 4 to the Colts. Yes, put on a show at Lucas Oil Stadium during the combine. Jim Irsay doesn't let him leave the building. Jalen Carter. So I think that Carter may not fall as far as some people think. I think that some teams sure may have them off their board, except they won't be in range to draft Carter. I think that the fact that it seemed to be one incident, like I don't put a lot of stock in the combine. He'll be perfectly fine, but he's got a lot going on. Obviously wasn't focused, and that's a heavy situation where you were involved in an ordeal where 2 people lost their lives. Right? And Carter has that situation going on. It seems to be tied up now, and I think teams will do their due diligence. I think that Carter may be the best non-quarterback in this draft. You can make a good case for it, so we'll see. 6, Will Levis, mock trade. The Raiders going up from 7 to 6 and securing their guy. Otherwise, now you may ask, why would they move up one spot and give up some draft capital? Well, it's very, very easy for a team that wants the last of the big 4 quarterbacks to leapfrog the Raiders at 7 and do business with the Lions at 6. And you see that a lot. You saw that years ago when the Niners were at 2, the Bears were at 3, and then the Bears came up 2 for Mitchell Trubisky-Ponder. And then the Niners took Solomon Thomas or something. Didn't quite work out in both cases. 7, Tyree Wilson, freak. Now, I could see them going gonzo in this spot because I could see them having faith in Hutchinson and Houston, but Tyree Wilson, man, like if he can hit the ceiling of his potential, he could be that dude. I mean, some analysts even prefer Wilson to Will Anderson, which is awesome. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback 1 off the board, yes. Set and forget it. Him and A.J. Terrell, great duo. Paris Johnson Jr. Coming in out of the Ohio State University. I think that I don't know what they're going to do. Like, do they move Jenkins inside? That didn't work out long term. They had the 5th round pick, Braxton Jones, at left tackle. Do they believe in him? Who really knows? Do they kick him inside? Don't know. But yeah, getting good players is the name of the game. And Paris Johnson, even though, should they have gone Skoronski in this spot? I mean, there isn't like a set it and forget it alpha tackle 1. And there's a lot of guys going on here, and Skoronski can kick inside. Miles Murphy going to the Eagles, and they reload along the defensive line as they always do. And then Skoronski going to the Tennessee Titans, replacing Taylor Lewan 1-for-1. And we talked about those before. Skoronski, great athlete, phenomenal tackle, but short arms. Pat Fitzgerald only deals in short arm left tackles, hence Rashawn Slater, who's a star with the Chargers now. Lucas Van Ness going to the Texans. I love this pick, where so Van Ness, his testing numbers are very similar to TJ Watt, and of course JJ Watt is a deity in Houston, and Van Ness is going to be all along the front. I mean, D'Amico Ryans is going to love him, absolutely love him. And a lot of people have the Texans going quarterback at 2, receiver at 12, or quarterback at 2 and tackle at 12. I don't see it. I don't think that D'Amico Ryans is going to let both these picks go offense. That's all. Broderick Jones, who knows what's going to go on with Mekhi Becton, but Broderick Jones, great tackle coming out of Georgia. Joey Porter Jr. This seems like a Patriots pick. Absolutely does. Where now he's in the mix with Jonathan Jones, who's back, as well as Jack Jones. So, I mean, Joey Porter Jr. is an absolute physical stud. And also, he's a nonstop trash talker. He's just like his pops. I love it. Jordan Addison. Also, Belichick's old enough to coach against his dad, which is kind of funny. Jordan Addison going to the Greasy Grimy Green Bay Packers, wide receiver 1 off the board. So he slots in, pun intended, with Romeo Doubs, with Christian Watson, and with Alan Lazard departed. Of course, Jordan Love needs him some weapons. Devin Witherspoon goes to the Commies. And I love this pick a lot. You can make a good case that the Commies have the best D-line in football, but secondary needs some freshening up. Brian Branch goes to the Steelers. What is going on? Wait, so Brian Branch gets to play with his doppelganger, Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, they're basically the same person. It's a Spider-Man pointing meme. You got two super versatile Alabama safety corner slot guys. Maybe it's redundant, but either way, you have two. Quentin Johnston going to the Ravens. The Ravens move up with the Lions in this spot, so they secure their outside big-bodied receiver. Maybe this one will actually work out this time. Who knows? And who knows if they keep Lamar? Don't know. Drew Sanders going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Sanders can be off-ball. He can be pass rusher. He can do a lot of things. I think they're just scratching the surface of what the Arkansas and former Alabama product can do. Osiris Torrance going to the Seahawks. You got to protect Geno. Just another rogue grader. Match him up with Damian Lewis. Go ahead, as well as, well, I mean, a lot of people have edge rusher going to the Seahawks, but they can tap that a little bit later on in the draft. It's a very deep edge rusher class. And then to the picks that matter, Darnell Wright. I got the Jaguars moving up with the Chargers. Awkward conversation. Hey, what happened in the playoff game? But Darnell Wright is an absolute rogue grader at right tackle. Look at some of his tape against Will Anderson. Phenomenal. And they have a hole with Jawan Taylor saying deuces, so he steps right in. Deonte Banks, thanks. Super physical freak cornerback going to Detroit. So Detroit gets Tyree Wilson as well as Deonte Banks. That's two major upgrades right there on that defense. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, come on down. I love it. He's my wide receiver 1. Specifically for the Vikings. He is an absolute slot machine. I don't worry about his 2022 production. I focus on 2021, where he was the best receiver on a team that had Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. It also had Jamison Williams, and then also had Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. So JSN is that guy. He's got great agility. He is always open, as well as has some punt return flexibility. So I love this pick. I think this potentially takes the Vikings offense to, well, it's already like top 7-ish, maybe top 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. I love it. And then you got JJ and JSN long-term, and KJ and TJ and all the J's. CJ's still around. Hell. Michael Mayer going to the Chargers. Sure. DeJuan Jones going to KC. They move up to 25. And with their issues right now with Orlando Brown Jr. leaving, saying deuces, they did sign Jawan Taylor, but DeJuan Jones on the other side. Sure. Luke Musgrave goes to the Cowboys. Dalton Schultz left. And then Dalton Schultz signed a tiny deal with the Texans. It's kind of funny, but adding some weapons for Dak to throw interceptions to. Bijan Robinson going to the Bills. I love this fit. Although, maybe they wait to sign Zeke after the draft, just in case they can't get Bijan. Or if they can't get Bijan, maybe they trade for Dalvin. I don't know. Kelee Ringo going to the Cincinnati Bengals. You can buy me the flowers going to the Saints. I actually kind of like that fit. I actually really like that fit a lot. Deep slot threat for Derek Carr to overthrow. Brian Bruzzy going to the Eagles. So this is gross. Again, so they get Miles Murphy from Clemson. They got Brian Bruzzy from Clemson. So that's gross. Tiger and Tiger and Eagle is just, man, disgusting. Then ringing up the rear with the gear, John Michael Schmitz, the pride of the University of Minnesota, best center in the draft. The Giants center said deuces and went down to join the Commies. So JMS steps in as their week 1 starter at the pivot spot. But more importantly, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, make it happen. I love it, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. CBS Sports Ryan Wilson, his latest mock draft. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.